But the greatest gift is not necessarily the stage, but it's getting to walk with people hand in hand through life, seeing the light bulbs click and seeing them grow and be better. Welcome to the Valor Envision podcast, episode 1. I'm Nick Furloni, and I'm going to be your host throughout this podcast and all of the other episodes. But I am so excited to start this off because it has been a long time coming. Why many people were like, man, I thought you were going to start this sooner, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I was also giving in to fear. I was giving in to the fear of failing, fear of not being successful, fear of not being good enough. All of those little fears or excuses. I don't know how to do this. Do I have the right tech? Whatever the case may be. I gave into a lot of that for a long time and kind of kicked the can down the road, if you will, for starting this podcast. But here we are. We're starting because ultimately, with what it means for Valor Envision, I can't let this happen anymore. If I'm going to promote what Valor Envision is about, then I need to live up to it. And this was an area where I was not. But that's okay. That's part of what Valor Envision is all about, is recognizing the areas that we are falling short on and getting better and working towards that improvement. Because none of us are perfect and we're never going to be. However, we can continue to try and strive to do better. So where did this all come from? How did this all start? Ultimately, what's my background and why? And so where this all came from was I was a military kid. I grew up in the military with my dad moving us around from duty station to duty station, whether it be different countries or also different states within the US here. We've lived all over and gotten to see so many different things, do different things. And the biggest part is see and experience different people, different types of culture, and all of those kinds of like things as well. I grew up and got to see so many different things. I have this vivid memory of one of them when we were living in Peru. I guess it was like a really nice house. I was really young, so I don't remember the specifics. I was probably around like 4 or so. And what would happen is my mom comes into my room and she has like this big trash bag, basically starts picking up some toys that I hadn't played with or they were broken or, whatever the case may be. They're like, I was not having the interest in them anymore. And she said somebody else would enjoy these better. And so she started picking them up. And I just remember being angry and wondering why she was taking my toys away. And you just had this thought of these are mine. And she just said, I want you to come with me. And I remember her taking us out of our nice home that we were able to afford because the American dollar went very far in Peru, possibly still does, but it definitely did back then. And she took me out of our home. And I remember going around the back of the house, and there were all of these kids and families living behind our house that I had no knowledge of. I was 4, and I see them for the first time, and I realize they're not living anywhere near how I am. They're living in cardboard or metal, homemade, structured type structures for themselves. They are immensely poor, and yet there's still smiles on these kids' faces. And then when they see us and we're bringing some toys in a bag, that immediately of seeing how they lived and realized that they were very less fortunate than I was, but yet they were still happy. They were still happy in life. They were still happy in general. But they were also excited that we were bringing some joy to them through some toys for the kids. And so I just remember not saying anything and just helping hand out what was mine is now theirs. Just stuck with me on that. And not everybody is at the same level, and not everybody has the same opportunities, because that's, as much as we all maybe want to try and get that, it's just life. It's the way things kind of will be and have been for so long, but that doesn't mean that we can't show care and heart towards others. And so that's where that had really stuck with me, and realizing that there is that in the world really kind of helped me understand and grow as a human, that to always look at what other situations are like for other people. That we have different cultures, we have different backgrounds, we have different histories personally, we have different families, all sorts of different things, even traditions, thought processes, whatever. And as much as what everything makes us all different and unique, there's also a lot of similarities in all of us. We're all people and we're all made in the image of God. And so, in these similarities and in our differences as well, it paints a beautiful picture of humanity. Though some of us may see or experience some of the ugly side that can and is there, there's also beauty in all of this as well. And that's what part of Valor and Vision is about. How can we promote people to be at their best, do their best, and specifically even more towards us as men? How can we help not only raise and lead our families, but how can we raise and lead our communities and our congregations as well? How can we be a force for good around us? How can we be an influence to those in a greater way? How do we live with valor and live for vision? And so as I grew up, I got to travel and see all of this, see so many different people and experience and enjoy the differences of all the different places I lived. And I embraced, that was one thing I realized, that I embraced all of the different things that came with different places. Some people, if you talk to military people, they may tell you like, oh man, that base and that place is terrible. There's nothing there. And I was like, man, some of those were some of the best because you saw different things. Not everything was the same, and you had different experiences and different environments to be a part of. And so I embraced all of that. And then later in my life, I also joined the military, and I was in the service for 13 years myself, and then got out. And then that's when kind of God got a hold of me and started this path towards ministry. And so I've been in ministry for over 9 years now, both volunteer and professional. I'm the men's director at my church and get to preach every so often. But the greatest gift is not necessarily the stage, but it's getting to walk with people hand in hand through life, seeing the light bulbs click and seeing them grow and be better, helping them achieve and get to the point where they realize that they have nothing really ultimately to fear, and that we can make actionable steps for us to grow and be better as human beings, as men, as fathers, as husbands, and as leaders for our community. That's where a lot of this has come from. It's just this desire and looking at the epidemic of fatherlessness in our society, the unfortunate abysmal rate of marriages that stay together, the divorce rate that is just absolutely higher than it should be at all. These are some of the things that are plaguing us and causing this next generational rollover of problems. And we see that has slowly become a bigger and bigger issue. But yet, these are hard problems to fix. These are hard problems to tackle. These are problems that ultimately we can't fix them with political policy or things like that. It starts within the home. It starts with us men. It starts with society realizing we need to do better as society, not just from a political stage, but from within our home. And so that's where this is all for. Let's make the changes now to the areas that we can actually produce change, and that's in ourselves. I can't force you to change, and I can't change anybody else around me, but I can change myself. And what were the tools and capabilities that have used and helped me in being able to make changes in my life to improve myself and grow into being a better version, which is still the journey I'm on. I'm not here to say that I have reached the top of the mountain. By far, I have not. And trust me, I am probably, if I had to rate myself, I still feel I am at the base of the mountain, but I'm making steps to keep going higher. And so I want you to be a part of that journey with me. I want you to be a part of this journey, this podcast, where we're going to explore different topics of faith, different topics of marriage, different topics of being a father to both boys and girls. And yes, there's a little bit of a difference in there, but ultimately, let's be better men. Society needs good men. Society needs great men. Society needs men of valor, which ultimately means to have courage in the face of adversity. And we need to be men of vision, men that know and have not just a dream, but actual vision and missions that we need to go after and accomplish. Things we know are possible, may be scary, may be difficult, but yet are they unattainable? No. We can go after them. We can grow. We can break it down those missions. We can break down those goals into actionable, smaller chunks and keep going after it day by day. One of the things you'll hear me say quite often is, let's do something today that tomorrow will thank us for. Let's keep striving forward for more. Let's keep striving forward to be better. Let's keep striving forward to not just live in the mundane rat race of life of doing whatever just to get by for the day, just to get by for the week, live for the weekend, and then do it all again the next 7 days. That's not where we need to be. That's not how this needs to go. We can be better. We can do better. And I believe in that for us. I want to champion us to do that. And so a lot of this will be geared more towards men. A lot of this will be geared and have a tone towards more of a manly application for this. However, a lot of these principles are for either of us, male or female. Does not matter. A lot of these principles are here for all of us. And so I welcome us ladies, you ladies in here, to be a part of this as well. I welcome you to hear what's going on and to learn a little bit from our perspective and see how things are going. And there's going to be times where I'm going to have female guests on here so that we can also learn from the female perspective on different things as well. And we're going to see some different capabilities. But one of the things that I always want to strive for is, how do we take principles and procedures into actual actionable steps that we can actually do in our lives to make us better? Too often I hear too many speeches about dreams and hopes and wishes and principles in life, but yet, how do I apply that? How do I actually make that a part of my life? What are the physical things for me to do to grow in my faith? What are the physical things for me to do to have a better marriage? What are the physical things I need to do to be a better father? And what are the physical things I need to do to be a better leader in either my job, my profession, or whatever, your career, however that is? How can I do better in life with actual steps? One of those, I'm going to give you a quick tip today. In our marriages, a lot of times, sometimes the ladies like, I just want flowers for, whatever, right? Of course, they want it on Valentine's Day. Of course, the ladies want flowers on their birthday or something like that. And I know there's a few ladies out there that don't, but bear with me, I'm talking in generalities. But we see that in the desire to have some flowers for the whatever, it comes from the idea of, I want to see something ultimately that shows me you think of me, even on the mundane Tuesday. Even on the whatever Thursday of the week that has no special, there's not a birthday associated with it. There's not a holiday. There's not even an anniversary or anything of that nature associated to it. What are the little things that you can do that that show me you think of me? That's what I hear a lot of ladies saying. And sometimes, and flowers typically are one of the things that we can do. That's easy. A lot of times I hear guys say, well, flowers die quickly, and so I find that to be a waste of money. It's one of our excuses not to do it. But ultimately, we can make this easy. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to take a lot of work. It's just little small things that we can do that show big impact on the other end, that look like big efforts to them, and will go so much further in your life. So how does this play out? Here's a couple tidbits that I've done in my life specifically. Grocery stores, Sam's Club, Walmart, a lot of these places, they already have flowers on display. And some people say, well, they're not that good or whatever, but stop. It doesn't matter. Get the best that you can from some of those sources, right? Because it's the thought that counts again. It's about, I'm going to go get a few things on the way home from work that we need at home for either dinner or we're just out of. Right. And on the way, just grab the nicest bouquet of flowers in that little bin. And they come with that little packet of food in there that you just add to the water, but you only get one. And the flowers have absorbed those in the first 24 hours. Right. So here's a quick tip. You can go on to any of our online shopping areas, our big stores, you know the names of them. And you probably have the apps on your phone, and your family probably orders from there all the time. The delivery guy probably knows you by name. However, it is, just get a packet of those little packets, get a bulk bag of those that have those little flour food packets in there, right? I forgot what it is. It's like, I think 100 or so of those, maybe only 30-ish bucks, somewhere in there. But that lasts you nearly a whole year. I'm telling you, it's not that much, right? We all know it's not that much because we do it all the time. Like it, add to cart, boom, it's shipped, and you'll get it in a day or two, right? So now you have those. One, I store those. Where do I change the water and the flowers all the time out of the vase? In the kitchen sink. So guess what? Those things are right underneath the kitchen sink. Put them in a place that you can easily grab them when you need them, around the place that you need to use them. So put those right there. Good to go. You get some flowers in. Me, typically, every other Sam's Club run, I get like a little thing of flowers and just grab those. Actually, went yesterday with my daughter. My daughter wanted to come to Sam's Club with me for a big run for a lot of the stuff that we needed. And I was like, do you think mommy needs some flowers? She's like, yeah. And so she ran, and I involved the kids, and they have fun. And my daughter went and picked, and they looked very Christmassy because it's the Christmas season right now, right? And just, you know what? My daughter's having a great time. She gets to pick out the flowers. She runs into the house and she said, Mommy, we got you flowers because we're thinking of you. It's just these like little things, and it brings a little happy smile to my wife's face. And I tell you, the little packets of food, because once you use the one that already comes in there, you don't have any more. You need more, because when you do, every time you change the water, which should be daily, and I tell you, if you do this, if every morning you get up while you're making your coffee, just flowers up, dump the water, new packet in, put the flowers back in, you're done, right? And those flowers will last, I'm telling you, close to 2 weeks long. You will get your money's worth out of them, so much more. And it's such little efforts. These are little efforts. There's really not much more that you need to add to. It's not this big ordeal project that you need to put tons of effort and take you away from all this other kind of stuff to be able to do. But the impact on your marriage will be bigger than you think. The impact on her recognizing and seeing that you are thinking of her and wanting to make these things last, to enjoy, for her to look at in the home, will be a bigger impact than you realize for such little effort. So guys, that's type of stuff that I want to talk about. What are the tangible little things that actually you can do? I can show you and talk to you about the little things, or even just actual steps on what physically to go out and do, right? So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about here on this podcast. These are some of how are we going to do different things. And then we'll even talk about some of the gray areas of Christianity that people want to debate about all the time. We'll have not necessarily debates, but discussions on some of those. How do we make our faith practical? How do we apply that day to day on that Monday through Saturday? Because we hear these great sermons, and sometimes they're just so great and they sound inspirational and motivational, but the application of it is very vague. How do we break that down into what does that really mean for me on a Monday morning? What does that look like before I go to bed, or whatever the case may be, on how to be able to do it? And sometimes we just don't see that, or we don't have those tools and those capabilities in our hands. We don't know how that really works. And so that's what I'm here to help you. We weren't born with all of this knowledge. Even the things that you know how to do well right now, the talents and the traits and the skills that you have right now, unfortunately, you weren't born with them. You had to learn them somewhere. And so same thing when it comes to all the other aspects of life. But we easily put them off because I don't know how to do that, so I don't do it. In today's day, with all of the digital capabilities that we have, we can't let that be an excuse anymore. We can learn how to do things. We can use the tools in our hands to help improve our lives, do better, be better, and grow a legacy beyond us. Yeah, I'm talking about your kids, not your bank account. Our kids are a blessing, and that's ultimately the legacy you leave behind. So much more, and that is what will be shown when you are gone. And so that's what this is all about. How do we grow to be better in all the different areas of our life? But that's one of the things that we need. We need to do this because our society is begging for it. Men, we need to step up. Men, we need to be able to take on the responsibilities that are being put on us and do them well. And I believe we can. I think just a lot of us weren't shown how. And then we throw up our hands and say we don't know how, and we use that as the excuse. Well, no more. I'm here to walk with you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to give you some of those tips and tools, those skills and capabilities to put in your hands so that we can lean forward. We see valor again is having courage in the face of adversity. The adversities, the majority of the times that we deal with in life is the lack of skill or knowledge of how to go forward and whatever it is. Well, no more. Let's have those. Let's get those. Let's learn where to gather those tools and skills so that we can keep moving forward and so that we can win at life. And on top of it, including our faith involved. Our faith is such a big part of that and will help guide us and lean us in the right directions when we have forks in the road. And so that's another area of how do we put these things, these principles, and these faith applications into practice Monday through Saturday so that we can raise great kids, have a great marriage, do well in our careers, and do well at life and lead others to greatness. That's what we need to. That's what we're here to do. So I look forward to this. I look forward to what Valor Envision podcast is going to be, the different episodes that are already planned and coming out, and where we're going to lead forward with. I can't wait to have some guests on here speaking about so many different things. And as I've already been having conversations with some of those people, we're getting excited to come and talk to you and bring the practicality to growing. So let's go. Let's lead in with valor and let's lead with vision.